These bags are useful for all sorts of, costume pieces, or if you just want to have a little project bag. And, you can always let your yarn come out through these holes as you're working on it. You can make it as big as you want in any kind of yarn. So, but this one's a dice bag for tabletop role playing. Hi y'all, I'm going to make a little dice pouch for tabletop role playing games. This is a much finer thread that I'm going to use as a demonstration for the pattern today. I'll be using a 4-weight yarn Red Heart Roll With It tweed in the color Oceanic, and I've got my Atimo 5.5 millimeter tulip millimeter hook with adaptive foam on it so my hand doesn't get too tired. So, but I'll show you the pattern on this yarn so it's a little easier to see, and it'll make a correspondingly larger dice bag. And you can use it for whatever types of, you can use the little bags for whatever. They could be little gift bags. They could be like personal items, pouch. If you have like that fairy belt that I made over the summer, you could probably attach this to your little fairy belt, and then you could have something to put items in that you don't want rattling around inside of your purse. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I did 4 chain stitches. You can do the slip knot if you want to, or the magic knot. Then I do a slip stitch. And let's look. Looks like I did single crochets going around at first. So I pull up a loop from the center, and then I go through those 2 loops. Okay, that's 1. That's 2. That's 3. If you go over your tail as you're doing these single crochets, you'll kind of be able to do the magic loop if you wanted to. It's kind of like a faux magic loop. It won't get any bigger than those 4 stitches that you did, 4 chain stitches, but you can make it smaller by cinching on this. This should be 12. And you just count back from your hook. 11, 12. Do a slip stitch into that 12th single crochet from the hook, like that. And you can, like I said, you can just pull your tail tight, and that will close it up for you. Now you can go back into the same slip stitch, pull up a loop, and then go through the pants into the second bar from the hook. This is called a stacked single crochet, and I will link the pattern down below, the tutorial down below, so you'll know how to do the stacked single crochets. You could also do 3 chains if you want to. So now we're going to go back into the same stitch, and we'll do double crochet. We're going to do 2 double crochets all the way around. I'll meet you back. Okay, so I've done 24 stitches. You can count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And we're going to slip stitch into that 24th stitch. Okay. So we did quite a few rows in here to make it the size we want it. I don't think I'm going to do as many double crochet rows, but if you're using a thinner thread with a smaller hook, this one was 2.5 millimeter for this bag. So yeah, you want to just corresponding to the size that you want, keep making rows as you go out. And the formula is you add 1 more stitch. So I'm going to do one more row and I'm going to show you how this this adds up. So let's do our stacking single crochets. And then you do a double crochet into that same spot. Now we're going to do one double crochet. Then we're going to do 2. So this one is 2 and then 1, 2, then 1, all the way around. So the first one is 2, the second one is 2 and 1, the third one is 2 and 2 in 1 stitch, and then 1 stitch, and then 1 stitch. So it's 2, then 1, 2. The next one is 2, 1, 2, 3. See, 2, 1, 2. So you just keep adding 1 double crochet by itself into your rounds as you go out. And I will meet you back when I'm finished this round, and we'll start the pattern on the side, and I'll show you how to do this. And you can make this as tall as you want as well. Okay, so we slip stitch and finish this round. I'm going to stop here. I don't want to make the bag huge, but like I said, when you're using smaller yarn, you're going to make more rows. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make these popcorn stitches, but they're not going to stand up. They're going to be sideways. I don't know, it's kind of a fun way to make a popcorn stitch. So go through that slip stitch, and then make a chain, and then you want to start doing your bean stitch or your puff stitch. And just do it a couple of times until you feel like it's as puffy as you want it to be. Okay. Oh, I think that might be a little too puffy. 1, 2, and then I'm going to count 3 stitches over. And just do a single crochet. And then do a chain. And then pull it up. Start making your puff. And you go down here through the legs of your chain. Of your single crochet, sorry. Okay, pull that through. Now I'm going to slow down and show you this puffy stitch one more time. 1, 2, 3. We go down into the stitch and we do a single crochet to anchor it down. We do a chain just to give it an anchor at the bottom. Then you pull up, yarn over, go through the pants of that chain, yarn over, or you pull through and pull it up, then you yarn over, and you go down into the pants, pull it up, yarn over, go in the pants, try not to split your yarn, and then you pull that loop up. Then you yarn over and you pull through all of them, and then you do a slip stitch to anchor it down, just to pinch it shut. 1, 2, 3, and then that was a single crochet. You just make these little puff stitches all the way around until you get to the end. I'll meet you back. Okay, so I've gone around and I added this this row of puff stitches. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make some arches that go over the puffs, and these are just simple chains. Okay, so you just do 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 4 chains are plenty. And then you go into the single crochet between your puff stitches, and you make a single crochet. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet on top of that single crochet between them. And sometimes it's a little fiddly trying to find that single crochet, but make sure you get it right, because you don't want to put it in like this gap space here. You want to actually put it in the stitch. Okay, so I'll meet you back. Okay, so we're in the last stitch. Just make sure we spread it apart and see that single crochet, and you can do a slip stitch here. Okay, and you finish that row, and that's where your the bottom of your bag will start to turn right here on this row, those bobbles. And if you want to, you can cover your chains with single crochets. You can use 4 or 5 stitches depending on how arched and packed you want them to look. You see that? That's 4. And then if you put in 1 more, it'll be very tight. But that will give you a definite middle stitch to work into. Okay, so you can either leave them as chains or do a row of single crochets that cover your chains. I'm going to skip that step for this one and continue on with the pattern. So the pattern is 1, 2 chains, a double crochet in that space, this chain space, 2 chains again, and a single crochet into the single crochet between your button, bobble, whatever they're called. 2 chains, a double crochet, bean. That's what they're called, bean stitches. Okay. Okay, and you're doing a single crochet because you want to continue to pull up the row, so you don't want to keep digging deep down by doing a slip stitch. You want to actually have it, you know, level up a little bit. We do have a little bit of mesh here, but we don't want a lot of mesh. We want it to, you know, we don't want dice to come falling through the bag. That's why I use the tiny yarn, tiny hook, and this pattern works great for dice. I'm not too sure about this one because this one might let dice fall out, so this one might just be like a reticule type bag that can just hold odds and sods. And keep things together. You can use it as a notions pouch or whatever. But this is big enough so you can actually see the pattern. Okay, so I'm at the end. I'm doing a slip stitch. Okay. I've come around. So the pattern looks like this. I just want to kind of pull it out a little bit so you can see. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to flatten it out so it's not so arched. So we'll just do 2 chains and then 2 more chains. So that's 4 chains. Then we go into the top of this stitch. There we go. Single crochet, 1, 2, double crochet, and those are 2 chains, 2 chains, single crochet on top, 2 chains, double crochet in the low one, the low single crochet from the last row, 2 chains, single crochet in the top of that double crochet, 2 chains, double crochet into the single crochet down below. Oops, there we go. So that's what that looks like. So this goes across and down, as opposed to the one that kind of makes a kind of a scallop. This one levels off the top of the scallop. Okay, so remember this first one I did 4 stitches. I ended off with a single crochet on the scallop for before. I did 2 stitches, a single crochet, 2 chains, and now I'm just going to go from here. I'm going to go 1, 2, and put it in. I'm going to put it in this one right here. I'm going to try to get it so that I can put the hook under that stitch, side of the stitch, and then that side of the stitch. So it kind of pulls it so that the tops of the chains lay correctly. Okay, so there is the, I guess I call it the leveling row. So you had beans, and then you had arches, and then you had scallops, and now you have, they look like little bridges over the valleys. I know, I make up all kinds of names for these things. So now that we're leveled out again, we can do bean stitches again. So that's a chain, pull it up, and go down into the stitch. Below your chain. Don't go back into the chain you just made when you're starting these beans, because it won't work. You need something to cinch it in the beginning and the end of the bean stitch. And then you want to lay it down sideways till you get to the other double crochet post that you had, or the double crochet, and then you just do a single crochet. See, and now it's going to start pulling up. That's okay. It's okay if it pulls up, because we're just going to turn it inside out. If you want to, you can push it right now and push all the beans out like this, and then crochet facing this way with the curve going underneath. But yeah, just pop your beans out, and that'll help with the shaping. So let's do another bean. We do a slip stitch, and then we pull it up, and then we start wrapping, going into the single crochet below your slip stitch, wrapping, and I kind of hold on to this mess of loops. I hold on to them and just pull it up again. See? Because this is such a full and fluffy yarn, I only do about 4. 4 is usually good. And then you cinch it off with another slip stitch. So then you find your long, see, this is the single crochet at the top of the previous row's arch. This is the long double crochet from the row you just did before, the previous row. So go ahead and do a single crochet into the top of that long stretch. See how the pattern's starting to work up? And I really like these little puffy stitches. They're fun. I thought about using a metallic yarn on the puffy rows and then switching back to the blue, just so that each one of these kind of looks like a gem, you know. I just didn't feel like doing all that yarn color work, changing, and then all the ends that you'd have to. But if you are really into this, you know, puffy stitch and you want it to stand out, a metallic yarn wouldn't, you know, be out of place. Maybe a like Rockstar yarn, or Metallico from Hobie. Rockstar is an ice yarn. Metallico is Hobie's yarn. Caron Crystal Cakes has a metallic yarn, so you could do that too. So I'll meet you back once this puffy row is laid down. Okay, so I've come to the end of that row for the puffy stitches. I'm just going to do a slip stitch in the end here. Now you can continue to do these rows going up. Remember, there's the 1, 2, 3, 4 chain, and then into this single crochet here you do another single crochet. Okay, so that's this row's continuation. And then we had the arches, and then we had the bridges, or the scallops and the bridges, or the valleys, the mountains, and then the bridges. And then we just keep going up on this until you get to the height that you want for your puffy stitches. And then I finished off with a couple of rows of simple netting, just a couple at the top. It helps to create a nice closure because it's super stretchy, and you can put a ribbon through it. So I will meet you back after I finish a couple more rows of the puff and valleys and bridges. Okay, so we're on the last puff stitch, and I'm going to transition to the simple 1, 2, 3, 4. Just do the simple arches over the puff stitches. So it's 4 stitches, 4 chain stitches, and then single crochet. Okay, and when you go around, this is the last puff stitch. I just did 2 repeats of the valleys and bridges. So I'm going to continue to do these arches over top of the puff stitches, and I'll meet you back. Okay, so we've come to the beginning, or at the end here. Just going to slip stitch into that first stitch. Now the next thing we want to do is do this simple net. And how I do that is I'm going to slip stitch twice, and then we'll just do 4 chains into that chain space. Okay, so that just slip stitches till you get to the middle there, and then you do 4 chains again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and just do a single crochet around the whole chain space. 1, 2, 3, 4, and just do that all the way around till we get to the end, and I'll show you what happens next. Okay, so we're around, we hit this one, and now we're just going to go into the chain over here. Come on. See that? Just 4 chains and then a single crochet in the top. This is where we started. We had those 2 slip stitches to the center, and now we're just going to jump over to the next row. And we can do as many of these as you like. I think I did 1, 2, 3. I did 4 on the previous one, so I'm probably just going to do 4 on this one. So I'll meet you back after I've done 2 more rows of this. Okay, so I've hid the ends, tied them up. I'll put this through, just kind of lace it through the top, in and out, this ribbon. Just want to stretch it as far as I can, and then cut. And I'm going to lace this onto a button, just to give it something to pull on. So I'm going to try rolling the end, kind of folding it a little bit. Sorry. And poking that through. You gotta be quick. This slippery ribbon. And I'll probably recut it and run a lighter, a little lighter over the ends of this ribbon so that it doesn't fray. Okay. So now stretch it again. Stretch it, stretch it, stretch it. Keep going. Okay, so this is about where we'll put the knot. And that's it. Okay, so now you've got your little cinch. The button helps hold it shut. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.